Oh God. Hi guys. Hello. I'm like very quickly eating a snack. Okay, my live hi. I'm like quickly eating a snack really quick. I'm starving. I'm sorry about it. It might be a snacky live. Um Let me get my microphone. Let's get it together, you know? I'm excited. There's some really great questions in here. Um I'm eating because we're doing hurricane prep as well as launch prep as well as everything that has to happen in the business every week. And so I'm starving and I haven't had time to eat. All right. That's not what we're here to talk about though. Let's look at your guys' questions. There's a bunch of really good questions in here. I will go through. I will talk about as many of them as I can. If I don't get to your question, or if you feel like sometimes I'll answer questions and that gives you guys more questions, come to coaching tomorrow. I'm coaching tomorrow night. Isn't that so fun? Let me look at the calendar so I don't tell you guys the wrong time. All right. I'm coaching in here at noon tomorrow. So we'll put the Zoom link. I'm sorry people had some issues with the Zoom link. I don't know why, because some people were able to get on and some people weren't, but we'll double check the Zoom link. I'll send it out to you guys again. I'll be live on Zoom at noon. You can come ask me whatever you want, and hopefully we'll have a great call. So we have a call at noon tomorrow and a call at noon on Friday. Not gonna lie to you guys, we're in Florida. That hurricane looks like it might be fine for us. It could also be bad for us. So it's a wait and see kind of game. So if there is electric here, I will do that call for you guys because I love doing the calls and I think it's a good distraction for me. Charlie's here. He needs a piece of cheese, snack cheese for Charlie. But we might have to push it till next week. Like if I lose power, I can't do it. You know what I mean? So let's all send like hurricane turning vibes. Like I would love for it to turn away from us instead of coming directly at us. That would be lovely. And so that's what we'll be up to. And then I just want you guys to think about using this week and using the coaching to create something really great. So like what's a result you could create this week that you would feel really great about? That you would be like, heck yeah, I did that. I've been meaning to do that and now it's done. And anything that is in the way of doing that, that feels heavy, that feels hard, that feels stuck, that feel like you can't do it, bring me that to coaching and I can help you. Our call last night was, I thought, great. I loved it. There was a lot of good stuff in there. We talked about all kinds of stuff. I think I went for like over 2 hours and it's on the podcast. So if you missed it or if you were there live, but you're like, there's parts of it I need to hear again, you can go ahead and listen on the podcast. I'm going to lock Charlie out of here because he's just like, he's doing a lot right now. Hold on. And then we'll get started. Okay. All right. Anybody else have a really needy, desperate dog? I'm on a coaching marathon, Megan. I really, really am. I want my camera to focus. Hello. Sorry I missed the mastermind Zoom. It's okay, Victoria. I will forgive you. You can come in here and get coached. You guys that are in the mastermind can also get coached. I wish sometimes my webcam gets out of focus and I don't know how to make it put me back in focus. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, sending turning vibes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that's the Florida game. Former Floridian. Good luck with that hurricane. Yeah, you know what I hate most about it, Temmie, is like that, like, it's like the wait and see game. Cause it's like you see it coming for days and they really don't know where it's gonna go. They just know it's gonna be really bad. And so you have to spend all this time preparing, but it's like it might not even hit us. So it's just too early to tell. And that waiting game is like the worst part for me. It's just like, is it gonna hit us? Is it not gonna hit us? Are we gonna have power this week? Are we not gonna have power this week? It's just like, we just gotta wait and find out. Okay, let's do this, you guys. Are you guys getting close to bingo? Who's gonna get the first bingo? Should we do like an extra prize for the person who gets bingo first? Let me know. What do you guys want as a bonus prize? We're giving away some really good prizes at the end. So on Monday, for every bingo you guys get, that's one like raffle ticket. So you can get multiple raffle tickets and we're giving away another month in the mastermind, which you guys would be blown away what you can get done in the mastermind in a month. Like, this challenge has only been going on for 4 days. So, and there's way more resources in the mastermind than there are in here. So you can really get a lot done in the mastermind in 30 days. So we're giving away some 30-day mastermind spots. We're giving away my Scared to Seen course, which is excellent. It's so good. I really, really love that course. We're giving away something else. You guys remind me. It's on the replay page if you want to see all of the stuff we're giving away. If you go to the replay page, I put like all of the little giveaways on there for you guys. Okay. How do you keep staying positive about something in your business, even if it seems like it's failing? Yeah, let's talk about this. I got some things to say. Who feels like their business isn't working or it's failing or like whatever? Let's talk about this because this is going to come up. Like, even if you're not having this now, like, let's be honest, like this thought is a thought most of our brains are going to offer us, right? And so this is what I want to tell you guys. Mastermind has heard this, but this is really, really important. I think the first step to changing about how you think about things and changing your perspective is doing a little like fact finding mission. So if I were coaching you, I would be really curious about this because the thought that your brain is offering you is it's written, it seems like it's failing, but I think the thought probably that your brain is giving you is this isn't working or this is failing, right? So we don't put questions when I teach you guys how to coach yourselves in the mastermind. So I teach you like my process for how I question people and help people, and that way you guys can do the process on yourself anytime you want, right? And one of the things we talk about is the difference between thoughts and facts, right? So your brain is offering you the business is failing. It's offering you that as if it's a fact. That's not a fact, that's your thought. So there's factual circumstances and then your thought about them. So how this would look, if I were coaching you, I would be really curious about what specifically is your brain telling you means your business is a failure. For a lot of you, maybe you're not breaking even yet. Let's just say business is doing, I don't know, what, negative $500 a month? Let's just say, right? So let's say the circumstance is business is making negative $500 a month. Your thought about that is the business is failing. When you think the business is failing, how does that feel? For most of you, you might be able to get some inspiration around that thought, but for most of us, especially if you think it over and over, it's not working, this isn't working, the business isn't making money, it's failing, I'm failing. Right? Those types of thoughts make people feel defeated, make people feel discouraged, right? And remember the second module of Reignite, the action fuel. Now you're fueling action. You're thinking the business is failing. You're feeling defeated. And then you're trying to make yourself take action on the business. And I actually think that's what causes burnout, not the amount of hours people work, right? Because you could work very few hours with that mindset and feel really ground down and really exhausted, and it could feel really hard and draining to work on your business. And that's actually what I think is causing burnout. And so you want to go on a little fact-finding mission and gather facts about your business. Now, facts about your business have to be something every person on earth would agree with and that you could prove in a court of law. So the business is failing is not a fact. The business is failing is your thought, right? So because if I ask you guys, is the business failing? Everybody's going to have different answers, right? Because that's not a fact. It's just a thought. Your brain is giving you that thought as if it's a fact. And that's why we want to know the difference. You want to know what is the actual facts and the circumstances and what are my thoughts about it. That's the first step. Before you guys start, everybody gets into this stuff and they're immediately I'm going to change my thoughts and change my beliefs and do all this stuff. It's just start with having awareness around well, what are the facts about the business failing? Okay, I've spent negative $5,000 building my business, right? That would be a fact. We could prove that. We could take that in a court of law. I could show you all the receipts. We could be I've spent negative $5,000 on the business. The business has made $200, and so I'm negative $4,800 in the business, right? That is a fact. But facts are neutral. So just because you've spent, let's even say, I did this in my business at one point. Do not do this. This is not business advice. I was like negative 17,000, I think, when I started my business. And I never had thoughts about it failing, right? My thoughts were like, I'm getting the support I need. I'm getting the tools I need. I'm getting the knowledge I need. I want to invest in myself. I want to invest in the future that I want. I'm willing to spend as much time and money as it takes to have the life I want. I'm willing to waste time. I'm willing to waste money to get the outcome that I want. People spend a lot of time thinking about how they don't want to waste their time and thinking about how they don't want to waste their money. And it creates the result of them wasting both of those things, right? Because what happens is when you're like, I don't want to waste my time, I don't want to do the wrong thing, it makes you very indecisive and slow, which makes you waste your time. And then the same thing with money. It's like, I don't want to waste my money. I got to buy the perfect things. And then what happens is people get in courses and they just feel so much pressure, right? Because they're like, I don't want to waste my money. I got to get everything out of this course. And it can feel really anxiety-ish, anxiety-y. It can make you feel very anxious. It can make you feel very anxious and worried, and it can make the whole thing so heavy and serious that then when you get in the course and you get the knowledge, it's like you can't actually absorb it at the level that you could, right? So you're not optimizing your learning. You're not optimizing your investments. I'm willing to waste as much money as I need to. I'm willing to waste as much time as I need to get the outcome that I want, okay? It doesn't mean I don't make smart business decisions, but that's a whole separate tangent. But that's something I see often, right? And so to go back to this question is like, how do you keep staying positive? Positive is a feeling, right? Positive is something you would feel in your body. Feelings are created from your thoughts. So this is what fucks everybody up. Listen, I'm always like, listen the fuck up. I'm about to say something important. This is what messes everybody up, right? You're like, I want to feel positive. I need to make X number of dollars so I feel positive, right? So it's like, I want to feel a feeling in my body to feel better. I need to change external things so I can feel better. What I teach people to do is like, you manage your feelings with your thoughts, and then you can change the circumstances if you want to, but then you're not making business decisions to make yourself feel better, right? So if I want to feel positive and I think I've got to change something in my business or get a different result to change how I feel, this is where people will like pivot into a different niche, right? Or they'll start selling something different, or they'll change their business model. And then they're able to feel positive because they're like excited because it's something new, right? And this is where I see people just like wiggling all over. They don't really ever actually commit to being known in any niche. They don't really commit to really building a brand around any of their products, and they just keep pivoting and wiggling all the time because their belief goes down. It feels bad. And then they're like, I'll buy this course and I'll feel better, right? And then you buy the course and you're like, oh my God, this is going to change everything. And then, but you're buying the course because your belief is low. That's not, to me, not a good reason. So I always talk about in the mastermind, it's not like there's right ways and wrong ways to do things. There's just reasons for doing it this way and reasons for doing it that way, and which reasons do you like better, and then you just deciding to like those reasons. That's it. Right? And so it's like you want to decide, just decide what you're going to sell and decide you're going to like it, kind of, right? And so the whole thing about this is like the business is going to take the time it's going to take, right? And so what experience do you want to have in your business while it's taking the time it's going to take? Do you want to feel like it's not working and discouraged and heavy? Do you want to feel anxious and afraid and stressed out? And you want to understand, what would you have to think and how would you have to show up to create a different experience building your business, right? Because right now I'm guessing your experience building your business does not sound very fun. It sounds very loaded. It sounds very heavy. It sounds very discouraging. And so I'll offer you guys like I had that negative $17,000 that I invested in the business one year before it was profitable, right? And my thoughts were never like, this isn't working. This is a huge problem. I don't know what I'm going to do. I was just like, oh yeah, I made the decision to spend this money. That was the choice I made. And then I was like, I'm going to get as much out of this investment as I can. And I'm going to keep going. And someday I'll pay that money back. And it's like, no problem. I've totally got it. Right. It's like, I had a whole plan about how I was going to pay it off and like how much I was going to pay every month. And I was like, I'm just going to make my payments and I'll pay it off. And like, that's that. Right. So I had very little drama about it. I could have made that mean a bunch of things about how my business is not working. I could have been like, oh my God, I've wasted all this money. I've wasted all this time. It's not making any money. It's not working. All the things we tell ourselves, right? So and so stuff is better. Who was I to think I could do this? And all of those thoughts create the result, first of all, of me having a bad time building my business. Like, number one, first and foremost, like, it creates a bad time and a bad experience for you. Like, that's what it creates. And then I see this a lot. I really think like that type of thinking can also create the result of your results taking longer, right? I think there's something about calm and certainty that can really speed things up, right? It's like when we're just trying to make ourselves feel better and we feel like the business is failing and we're like, I'm just going to try this thing. That's usually not where I see people all of a sudden their business takes off. The people whose business takes off really take calm, steady, strategic action over a long period of time with minimal drama. And if you can do that, you will get a result. Like, that's just how it works, right? I'm always like, I'm going to just keep doing things and working on the business until I get the result I want. We talked about this on the Zoom last night. It's like, I'm just not going to quit until I get the outcome I want. And I'm calm and I'm certain. And from that place, then I make business decisions. And that way I'm making strategic business decisions versus maybe a launch doesn't go how I want, my belief goes down, and then I'm like, I feel like crap, right? I'm like, I want to feel better. I'm gonna sell something else. We're not gonna sell the mastermind anymore. I'm gonna sell this other thing, right? And then people get really excited about their new thing. They're like, oh my God, this is so great. I'm so excited. And they think the new thing will change their result. And so they feel different. So they're literally just making business decisions to feel better. It's not strategic. So in the mastermind, we teach you guys to make strategic business decisions. But all of this to say, these are the main things I would say about this, is you want to understand that you can be positive even when you're not making money. You can be positive even when you have negative amount of money. And like, I'm not saying it's easy, but I think it's really useful work for you guys to do as entrepreneurs. Because if you can manage your mind and still believe things are working and still believe things are moving forward, even when you have negative money, right? You'll be able to see solutions. I was coaching on this last night too, because it's kind of like when your belief is low and you're looking for results to create your belief, it's like you can't see any innovative solution. All you see is like, it's not working. This didn't happen. This isn't working. This wasn't going the way I want. And we get kind of blinded in our own thought patterns. And it's really useful, I think, to break yourself out of that and go to the other side, which is like, how is it working? At any given time, there's evidence for both. So I'm always like, a lot of things can be true at the same time. This is the example I always give in the mastermind. It's like, if I'm driving my car, my brain likes to tell me we could die in a head-on collision right now. Now, is that true? Yeah, that's true. I could die in a head-on collision. Someone could hit me, kill me when I'm driving my car. That's true. But just because something is true doesn't mean it's going to create an outcome that you want. And it doesn't mean it's useful for you to focus on. So me getting in my car and focusing on that all the time creates the result of me being anxious, me being afraid to drive my car, me not wanting to go anywhere, right? And so I have to create a different experience for myself by changing my focus. Sometimes you guys don't even need to change your beliefs. It's just like, just focus on something else. And so you can do this with your business where it's like, I'm sure all of you could give me a huge list of things that are not working. It's like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. This is a problem, this is a problem. But think about how different your experience would be if you spent the same amount of time thinking about things that are going better than they were, right? Results that you're getting that you like, things that are going well, right? And take your brain to that place. And staying positive about your business is really about focusing on what is working versus what isn't working. Just like me having a good experience driving my car is created by me focusing not on being in a head-on collision, right? Focusing on all of the times that I have drove and I am safe and all of the safety precautions or whatever, right? It's like choosing. I really think like your focus creates the experience you have in your business. And a lot of us are focusing on all of the things that are wrong and all of the things that don't work, which is not your fault. Like, it's literally how our brains are wired. That's why it's important that we talk about these things and you guys understand this stuff. This is why I think so many people get sucked into this, like buying courses, and like not really getting anywhere. It's because they take their kind of like crappy thinking and their low belief in themselves, like they don't really think they can do it, they don't really think their stuff is that good, or they take their low belief in their business. I've spent all this money, this isn't working, I don't think I can do this, it's never gonna grow, this is wrong, this is wrong. And they take all those crappy thoughts and then they're like, okay, I'm going to learn Instagram strategy. And then they take all of their crappy thoughts about themselves and their product and their business and money and their clients, and then they put them in this new course. And it might make them feel better for a little bit because they're excited because they have a new course and that feels like possibility and maybe this is going to change things. But that belief, because it's created from like an external thing from the course, that's, you're using the buying the course to bolster your belief in yourself and your business, it's very fleeting, right? So it will leave just as quickly as it came. And the belief that I want you guys to build is from like your own thoughts. Like, what would you have to be focusing on to feel like the business is working? What would you have to be thinking to create a positive experience while you're building your business? One of mine, and people like really want to get in full belief, and that's fine, but like one of mine is like, I just want to see what happens. I just want to see if I can do it. And like, if I fail, that's okay with me. It's like, I want to see what happens. Like, most of you that are here, you want to have a business. Like, don't you want to see what happens if you really try, if you really went all in? And so when your brain is like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, oh my God, huge problem. You're like, none of this is a problem. None of this is a problem. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep learning. And I want to see what happens if I just never give up. I just want to see. I want to see how far can I take it, right? And I think a lot of you guys kind of have that same drive as well, or you wouldn't be here in this community. Like, you probably would not care about anything I'm saying, right? But it's like, there's part of you that wants to see, like, how far can you take it? Like, could you do it? Like, what would happen? And if you can't get it to a place of like the business is working and it's growing and it's great, that's fine. You can go to like a more neutral place. The first place to go is in a positive place. If you're feeling really negative about your business, the first place to go is a neutral place. A neutral place, right? So positive to me would be like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to have $1 million business. It's all going to work in my favor and it's all great. But sometimes I can't get there. Like, sometimes I don't believe those thoughts. And thinking thoughts you don't believe is not helpful. So you've got to find a thought that you believe that feels true, that's more neutral about your business than what you've been thinking, right? And this is the other tricky part about our brains is, like, if you start thinking my business isn't working, your brain always wants to prove you right. So if you have that thought, it's like, oh, my business isn't working. Let me go find some evidence to like collect up and prove you right. Like, oh, this isn't working. Oh, and you're not getting followers. Oh, and you're getting unsubscribes. Oh, and you're getting money. And your brain will start bringing you all of this supporting data for your crappy thought. That's why this stuff is so important, right? We want our brain collecting data for useful things, right? Looking at problems, looking at solutions, evaluating things, and doing things that are useful in our business, not going around collecting all of the evidence about like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, this is working. And yes, we have to problem solve in business, but it's very different to sit down at your desk and be like, I am going to come up with a solution for this problem, and just you stewing and dwelling about everything that's going wrong. Like, that's not problem solving. Like, that's not in any way useful. It doesn't take you anywhere you want to go. What it creates is just more uncertainty, more you thinking about what's not working, more evidence about what's not working, and you just stay in that cycle over and over again, right? And then maybe we'll buy a course, or what else do people do to buy their belief? They'll change their niche, they'll change their name, they'll change their brand colors, and then their thought is like, this might change everything, everything's going to be different now, and they feel excited and they build their belief off of that. But the belief didn't really come from them. It just came from them changing their external circumstances. So then every time their belief goes down, they have to change something in the external. And business is really like a long fucking game. It's like, can you be consistent over a long time? That's the game. And, if you're constantly changing things, changing your offer, buying courses, doing whatever, if you're constantly like changing everything around, you're not really building any momentum in your business. You're just kind of like zigzagging all over the place. It's like you've got to like find a problem you can solve, right? A problem people want to pay to solve. Find that problem, and then you put your brain to work really focusing on how do you become known for solving that problem? How do you build a reputation as someone who fixes this problem for people? How do you build a reputation for your offer? In the mastermind, we talk a lot about building a reputation for your offer. People need to see what you're selling a bunch of times before they buy these days. And so, people might sit through 2, 3, 4, 5 launches before they're ready to buy. But if you're constantly selling different things and talking about different topics and doing all these different stuff, like, no one is really getting on board with you. Like, you're not building a reputation for yourself as anything. The people that maybe were getting ready to buy, all of a sudden we're talking about something else. Like, they're now off of the wagon. Like, they're not, it's like, you want to be a steady leader for your people so they feel like they can trust you. And I think when people are pivoting around all the time because they're scared it's not going to work, and they're trying to bolster up their belief by changing something in the external, it doesn't feel good to your audience. The energy of it feels a little graspy, right? Because it's a decision that you're making out of like doubt and fear, versus like, this is the next step for me, right? And I'm not saying never pivot, but I'm saying like, you want to know the reason why you're doing things, right? And do you like those reasons? Okay, let me know if you need anything else about that, Alexis. And you can if you want to talk specific about what's up in your business, come to coaching tomorrow. I'm coaching at noon tomorrow and noon on Friday, and I would love to talk to you about all of this. But that's kind of my general spiel. Let's see. Breakthroughs. Your focus determines the experience you have in your business. This is what I always think about, that I really love thinking about lately. I have this goal of like making $1 million business, right? But it's not really about like making $1 million. It's really about like, who would I have to become to be able to have a business like that? How would I have to be able to show up as a leader, as a teacher? What kind of results would I have to get? What kind of reputation would I have to build, right? And so it's really, to me, like, I find a lot of satisfaction in the process of doing it. I'm not going around being like, well, this isn't working and this isn't working, and if we're gonna get to $1 million, this has to happen. This isn't happening, and I'm just like, I just want to see if I can do it. I'm just going to keep trying things and see if I never give up, like where I end up, right? And it's kind of like in pursuit, like who you become in pursuit of the goal. And I know a lot of you guys want money and want to be full time, but a lot of times that focus is a disservice to you because it puts everything in a pressure cooker. And this is unpopular business advice, but I give it all the time. I think your business needs funding it needs funding, you have to fund it if you're not going to get investors. Like, you don't get to have a business for free. I don't know anybody that has had a business for free. Like, yes, the barrier of entry in an online business is lower, but it's not zero, right? And so businesses need funding. And so if you're in a place where you need money, funding a business is not a good move. Like, it might be a good long-term move for you to be in a different situation eventually, right? But if I'm in the situation of like, I need money, and then I'm like, I'm going to start a business, that just does not make sense to me. Because in my mind, it's like, businesses need funding. You're going to have to fund it for the first, I don't know, however long it takes you to become profitable. But a lot of businesses, even brick and mortar businesses, take a year or two to break even and start making money. And if you've never built a business, you've never been online, you've never sold anything, to think that you're going to start a business and just pay your bills the first year might not be a good thought for you, right? Because what happens when you have that expectation is you like take your little baby business that wants to be nurtured and loved by you, and you put all these expectations on it of like, why aren't you making money? I spent this much money and I spent this many hours, and why are you not making money for me? Why are you not making money faster? Right? And we kind of smother any like creativity and love and joy and positivity we could have in the experience of building our business. You miss out on the entire journey. Like I was saying, like, it's like the pursuit of who I'm going to become in this goal. Like, who would I have to become in pursuit of this goal of the $1 million business? If you're putting your business in a pressure cooker of like, it has to make money now and it's not happening fast enough, you are missing that entire journey, which to me is like the point, right? And like I'm saying, it's going to take the time that it takes. Putting it in a pressure cooker and being stressed out and focusing on all the negative doesn't make it happen any faster, right? And this is the thing too that I tell the mastermind all the time is like, I'm not committed to you guys feeling super happy all the time. Like, I'm a business coach. I'm committed to women making fucking money. That's what I'm committed to, right? And if I thought, and this is the honest to God truth, if I thought you guys being negative and being stressed out and focusing on what isn't working would make you money faster, I would be fucking coaching you to do that. And you can ask them. Like, that is the truth, right? It's like, I coach on like what is effective, not just because I want you guys to feel good. It's like, it's because I know if you are having a miserable time building your business, you will not be able to take the consistent, sustainable action it takes to actually get results. Like, you'll get burnt out. You'll do that. This is where people do that stop start, right? Where they work really hard and then they like are exhausted, and then they work really hard and then they're exhausted. It's because they're in low belief, right? And they have a lot of really terrible thoughts about like, their business isn't working, my stuff isn't good, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like, when you're taking action with that type of fuel, it feels so much harder than it needs to be. And it's already hard. I'm like, it's already going to be hard for you guys. You don't need to make it harder. All right. Damn it. I'm only through one question. How long have I been on here? I can't tell a short story. I want to launch my crochet course again in November and had 0 signups in my last launch. My brain offers me all kinds of thoughts like no one is going to sign up again. Crochet is not that difficult, so people can learn on their own, and maybe you should try something else to make money. So my question is, what thoughts can I use to practice? Oh, I love this question. Thank you, Suzanne, for asking it. It cut off your thing though, so hold on. I want to make sure I get the whole thing. So my question is, what thoughts can I use and practice to get my mind right to start pre-launching this next round of my course? Yeah, you just want to head to somewhere neutral, right? So here's the thing I see a lot. So probably like, I don't know, once a month or something, maybe even more than that, someone will come on a call and they'll tell me all this stuff. And the energy they're telling me is basically like what I hear, right? Is them kind of going, Faith, I have this thought and I keep having it, and it's a really bad one. It's a really bad thought. And I'm always just like, there's no like good thoughts and bad thoughts. There's just thoughts and what they create, right? Everything is neutral. Like that's one of my thoughts that I use a lot. It's just like everything is neutral. It's just like, is that a useful thought? Is that a thought you want to keep thinking? Is it a thought you want to keep focusing on? And some of these, like, you should answer it. So if your brain is offering you, your brain is always going to offer you negative thoughts, you guys. This is part of how we're wired for survival. And the reason your brain is focusing on the things that aren't working in your business isn't because you're a negative person or something is wrong with you. It's because that's how our brains are programmed. Your brain wants to keep you alive in the human body. That's its whole job, right? And so part of that is like it always looking for things that could go wrong and bringing it to your attention in case like we need to do something to keep you alive. So it's literally a survival instinct programmed into your brain, right? That's why I can sit up here a lot of times and I can say stuff and you guys are all like, oh my God, like I think that. And I'm like, yeah, I know we all think that. Our brains all work the same way. Like I already know your guys' brains are focusing on what's not working in your business. And it's probably making you feel like crap and not being very helpful to you because that's how all of our brains work, right? Not because anything is wrong with you, not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just because we have a human brain and we're never taught how to manage them, which I think is crazy to me. But you want to answer some of these. So this is a good question for you guys to ask yourselves, right? So in the mastermind, you get the whole self-coaching course, but if you're not going to join here, I'll give you a coaching question you can ask yourself. If your brain brings you this question, right? It's like, no one's going to sign up again. And then your question back is, so what? So what? So what? Like literally, so what? Like no one is going to sign up again. Like, okay. Like, you know, the worst that happens is like you feel disappointed and it's like, I'm willing to be disappointed. I'm willing to be disappointed as many times as it takes. I'm like, yeah, bring on the disappointment. Like, let's do it. Right. And so when your brain offers you these types of things, like, I'm trying to read some of, maybe you should try something else to make money. And it's like, answer that. Like, do you want to try something else to make money? And if you don't, then tell your brain that. It's almost like you've got to like talk back to yourself sometimes, especially when this stuff is really stuck and it feels really real. And it's just interesting. Like a good place to go is curiosity, right? And so you guys will see me do this like when I'm coaching people. I'll just be very curious. I did this earlier with someone in the mastermind where I was just like, yeah, like let's talk more about that. And like, what do you think a lot is? And how would you know if something is a lot of money? And how would you know if something's worth it? And how do you know if people can afford it? And I just keep asking them questions and we just keep discussing it to get some of those thoughts kind of loose, right? So you want to question your negative thinking. So if your brain is like, maybe you should try something else to make money, you want to ask yourself that. Like, do you want to try something else to make money? And if the answer is no, tell your brain that. And have reasons why. Like, why do you not want to try something else to make money? Probably you want to see if this works. You want to see if you can do it. That's a good reason to do things, I think, right? It's like, tell your brain, like, I have good reasons for doing this. Like, I want to see if I can do it. I want to try. This is my dream. I want to be a person that goes after my dream. And you need to say that stuff to yourself when your brain offers you this stuff, right? We already know it's going to offer all of the things that could go wrong. It's what it does. It's just the human brain doing human brain things, right? Negative thoughts are not a problem, but you want to be aware of them. And then it's almost like, this is like meta, but it's almost like what you think about your negative thoughts, right? And so I don't think negative thoughts are a problem. My brain offers me lots of negative thoughts all the time. And I'm in charge of directing where do I want to put my focus, right? Because a lot of times my brain is not focusing anywhere useful, right? The other thing is like your brain is programmed to conserve energy, right? It wants to do things that are easy and fun. It wants to conserve energy. It's part of your survival. And so a lot of times our brains are avoiding thinking hard, coming up with solutions. Sometimes figuring things out in your business feels a little bit like algebra. Like it's a little tedious. It's like sit down and figure out what are you going to sell and what is the business structure and when are you going to launch, and like really figuring all that shit out and making decisions can be tedious for your brain. And so it oftentimes will overwhelm you or confuse you. It'll take you to like, I don't know, land. We're very confused. Or it'll just start negative thinking. No one's going to buy it anyway. right? I should just do something else, right? And a lot of times it's just avoiding that tedious work, but you could be curious about, why is your brain offering you all these negative thoughts? Is it to conserve energy? Is it because you're trying to avoid negative emotion? Like, that's just good information for you guys to have, right? Like, I always say, like, awareness will do a lot for you. It's not that you have to have all this stuff perfect, but it's like starting to be aware of your thinking and what that creates will be like game changing for you guys. I promise. And you'll just have such a better experience building your business. So, Suzanne, are you on here? Does that answer? I love, oh, you're on here. Great. I love teaching crochet. That's a good reason, right? So when your brain is like, should I just give up and teach something else? You're like, no, I love this. This is my dream. I want to see if I can do it. Like, and that's a good reason to me, right? And so answer some of those questions, right? Our brain will do this too with like big scary question marks. It'll be like, what if nobody buys? Big scary question mark, like, oh no. And I always tell the mastermind, I'm like, answer that. Like, if you guys will see me do this on coaching too, probably this week, I'll be like, answer that question. Like, if you drop some scary question on the call, I'm like, you got to answer that. And when you answer it, it's usually not that scary. But if you leave it unanswered, it can feel unsafe almost, right? Where it's like, what if nobody buys? Oh no. It feels really bad to leave it unanswered. But if you're like, okay, what if nobody buys? Sometimes on the calls, I'll be like, what if everybody asks for a refund? What if everybody hates it and they all ask for a refund? And what if nobody ever buys again? And we'll just go through all these worst case scenarios. And like, the result is you guys just have the result you already have. So even if nobody buys, or even if every person asks for a refund, you literally have the result you would have right now. And it's like, is that really so horrible? But when we leave it unanswered, it can seem really scary. So answer those questions for your brain. Take a little bit more control over these thoughts, Suzanne, just by questioning them, and talking back to them, and remembering, like, I have good reasons for doing this business, right? I have good reasons for trying to sell something again. Like let's talk about your launch, right? So why do you want to launch again if you had 0 signups? I want you to tell me all of the reasons, and you guys can all put reasons. Like, what would be reasons, good reasons for you to do a launch again, even if nobody buys the next time, and if nobody bought before? Like, why would you want to run that launch again? It's important you know those reasons. And I have a whole course I'm making called Launch Align, which is about this, where I'm like, I just need you to do a half-ass launch, and then we're going to do it again, and we're going to make it better. We're going to do it again, and we're going to make it better. We're going to do it again, and we're going to make it better, right? And so each time they're like building more and more assets for their launch and just getting better at selling that offer, right? It's what we were talking about on the call last night. Like, if you keep changing your launch and you keep changing your offer all the time, you're never going to get good at any launch strategy or selling any offer. You're just going to keep doing kind of the same, creating the same mediocre results over and over and over. Yeah, to practice and fix the mistakes, right? Yeah, maybe this time I can help someone. Yeah, like to me, I think you guys doing $0 launches is useful. Like, I really do, right? I think it's useful because I think you get practice. You get practice selling. And I think most of us, like, I'm not a marketer. Like, in my life before this, like, I had never sold anything. And sales is hard. Marketing is hard. Like, you need to practice it a lot, right? And here's something, I'm not saying you're doing this, Suzanne, but here's something that has been bugging me lately. I'm going to give you guys like the real. Are you ready? I think people feel a little entitled to sales. And it's like, you launched one time, like one product one time. Like, what if it takes 20 times to have the skills you need to make sales? Like, what if you're just like not entitled to sales at all? Right? And don't use this against yourself, you guys. And like, what if you making $0 sales, like, what if that's not a problem and it doesn't mean your business isn't going to work? We don't have to go to that dramatic place. A lot of times the $0 launches are really painful because it's like we add all of these layers on top of it, right? So we talk about clean suffering in the mastermind, which is like, I'm like, if you're disappointed that you made no sales, be fucking disappointed. Like, I'm like, really go for it. You guys know when you break up and you really wallow and feel really sorry for yourself? I'm like, really go for it. Like, be really disappointed and like indulge in self-indulgent and like just really go there, right? That's fine. That does not concern me. What does concern me is people feel disappointed and then they pile all of this other shit on top of it. That's like, I'm disappointed I didn't make any sales, and I'm never going to be able to do it, and I spent all this money, and I spent all this time, and it was all for nothing, and blah 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 blah. And the next thing you know, we have this huge painful problem, right? Which is really like, you could just be disappointed you didn't have sales and then take your brain somewhere useful, which is like, okay, what could I try next time? What I did not work. That's good information. It's good to know. You don't know what doesn't work until you try something, right? So you're like, okay, like, how could I make that a little better? How could I improve it a little better? Maybe you do the exact same launch again and all you do is just like work on writing your emails better or sending more emails or doing more free training or explaining the problem better, right? Does this answer your question? I'm willing to try again and learn. Yeah, I'm willing to do it as many times as it takes, right? And I don't feel entitled that when I do something new, I should get the outcome I want the first time, right? So I just want to normalize for you guys. I think in this space sometimes we see all these like overnight success stories, right? And like the $10,000 months and the $100,000 launches and all this stuff, right? But I want to normalize for you guys like things being hard. I'm like, you might have to launch and do a bunch of $0 launches before you figure it out. And that will probably be hard. Like, it's probably gonna be hard to like manage your brain and like keep your belief up and do all of that work to get the experience that you need. And this is why most people can't entrepreneur, right? They can't entrepreneur because they let their brain take them to so many unhelpful places when they don't get the outcome. And entrepreneurs, like, first and foremost, we are innovators. We're motherfucking problem solvers. Like, that's what we get paid to do. We get paid to like innovate new solutions to problems that have never been in the world before, right? We create new solutions for people. And you need to take that spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation and apply it to your business, where it's like, I'm going to figure out a new way of doing sales. I'm going to try something different. And your best ideas will always come from your brain, right? So a lot of people try to like borrow other people's launch strategies or other people's step-by-step stuff, and it will work for a couple people, but it doesn't work for most people, right? And it's not because the strategy is bad. The strategy is fine, right? But it's like, unless you borrow my thoughts and feelings while you're executing my launch plan, you will not get the same results as me. It won't work for you, right? And vice versa. It's like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, it's not just about doing the actions in the right order. It's like who you're being while you're taking the action, right? And so who do you want to be when the business isn't working? Who do you want to be when you don't make any sales the first time or the second time or the third time, right? And like, are you showing up that way? Sometimes I have to get real honest with myself and be like, do I like who I'm being right now in this situation? And it's not that there's lots of situations in life that are unfair and unfun and suck, right? But it's like, who do I want to be? That's something I always have control over. How do I want to see things? That is up to me. I decide how I see things. Like, you don't decide what happens to you. You don't decide when the business takes off. You don't decide lots of things in life, right? You don't decide what happens to you, but you do decide how you see it. And you do decide what it means to you. So you can decide ahead of time, if you don't hit your launch goal, what does that mean to you? Right? To me, it doesn't mean anything is wrong with me or my program or anything. It's just like, it just means I need to try something different and test something. I'm like, that's good information for us to have. Let's test something else, right? I never go to this place of like, I suck and everybody hates me and it's never going to work and like that kinds of stuff. And I have to have some strong boundaries with my brain because my brain likes to go there. All of our brains, like, it likes to go there. That's kind of easy for my brain to do. And I have to literally just be like, no, like, with almost like with a kid or something. It's like setting a boundary where you're just like, I just don't talk about my business in my head like that anymore. I don't have like those types of thoughts about me and about my business anymore. I just don't do it. Right? Do it again because someone might need to see this. Yeah, see it this time who will buy it 3 launches later. We talk about this all the time in the mastermind. A lot of people, when they join the mastermind, will come to their first call and they'll be like, oh my God, I've been listening to the podcast for years. And oh my God, I've done like every launch and I finally joined. And it's like, you know, I'm often like selling like for 3 launches from now, right? Because some people might need to go through a few different ones before they join. So I think that's important to recognize too. Like, what if nothing is wrong with you or the offer? What if they just haven't seen it enough times? Like, that's very well could be, right? What if just not enough people saw your offer? A lot of you guys, like, most of the problem you have with sales is not enough people see your offer, right? It's just like, it's numbers. Like, even if you're really, really, really good at sales, I mean, what is a good sales conversion rate right now? 10%? That would be great. But that means that's like if you're great, like you're great at marketing and sales and your offer is good, you have a 10% conversion rate. That means even if you're great, 90% of people are telling you no. Like, that's how sales works. Like, almost everybody tells you no. That's the process. It's supposed to be like that. It's always going to be like that. That's the way it is, right? And so I just want to make sure that you're not using that against yourself, right? And it's like, if you've never done sales before, yeah, you might start at like a 1% conversion rate or a 2% conversion rate. And then the game is like, okay, how do we get to 3%? How do we get to 4%? Right? How do we get to 5%? And then you've got to think like, if 90% of people are going to tell you no, and you're selling to a list of 20 people, it's very likely that you won't make any sales. And the only problem is just not enough people saw it. Like, that's very possible too, right? So that's definitely a problem I see a lot with the $0 launches, is like just not enough people saw your offer, right? And then the other second biggest problem I see, and reason why people have $0 launches, is they just haven't sold it enough times. And it's like, if you had to do 20 launches to learn how to sell it and learn how to make it profitable, like, are you willing to do that? And that's a good question just to ask yourself. It's just good information for you to know. For those of us who are better at meeting the needs and expectations of others, how do we prioritize our own goals when the world is knocking at our door, asking for time and energy? This is so interesting. Michelle, I would love to coach you on this if you can come to coaching. So this is the thing, is like about the facts and the thoughts, right? I would be really curious to get some facts from you about what actually happens, right? And so maybe let's say your boss is always trying to get you to stay late, right? That could be a fact. We could maybe prove that in a court of law, right? Boss wants me to stay till 6 p.m., I don't know, 3 times a week or whatever. Boss tries to get me to stay late 3 times a week, or tried to get me to stay 3 times a week last week. That's something we could prove, right? So boss tried to get me to stay late 3 times last week, right? That would be like a fact. So you want to pull out like what is actually happening. Our brains are so tricky, you guys, because they just give everything immediate meaning and put all these stories together. And you kind of want to slow down and be like, what are the actual facts of this, right? And so it's like your boss tried to get you to stay late, or maybe people are always asking you to volunteer at your kid's school, right? You could put that as a fact, like PTA asked me twice last week to do whatever activity, right? Those are facts. And then there's facts, and then there's your thought about the facts, right? So there's the facts that are happening. I don't know what they are specifically because they're not in this question. But then your thought is, the world is knocking at my door asking for time and energy. That's your thought. Now, you could put anything you want in the T line, right? So let's do like your boss trying to get you to stay late. So boss tried to get you to stay late 3 times last week. That's a fact. And then your thought is the world is knocking at my door asking for time and energy. It's like everybody's always asking for things, right? But you could put anything. We're always like in the mastermind, we talk about you can put anything in your thought line, right? So the facts we don't get to pick, right? We can't control if your boss asks you to stay late, or if the PTA asks you to volunteer, or if your kids ask you to do shit, or your husband wants you to do shit. Like, we don't control that. But we do control what we think about that, right? And so, for example, it could be like my boss asked me to stay late 3 times last week, and your thought could be, this is a great time for me to practice feeling discomfort in my body and learning to set boundaries. The only thing you have to be willing to do to set boundaries and to say no is just feel really uncomfortable in your body, right? And most of the time, when we play out what that discomfort is going to be, it makes it a lot less scary. Because sometimes we feel like honest to God, our brain is so dramatic. It like feels like we're gonna die, right? It's just like, oh God, like saying no, it's like so hard and it's the worst. But it's like, if you're willing to feel negative feelings in your body, right? And you're willing to let other people feel negative feelings in their body. It's okay for other people to feel negative feelings in their body. Let them have their experience, right? You can say no, right? That's all that's required. And then the other thing that I teach a lot about, and you guys have probably heard this if you listen to the podcast, you've definitely heard this if you're in the mastermind, but I love this. And it's from Byron Katie. I didn't make this up, but it's like, there's your business, there's other people's business, and there's God's business. You stay in your motherfucking business. That's the game, right? So a lot of times when we're not saying no and we're trying to like keep everybody happy and do everything everybody's asking of us, it's because we're trying to get that person to think nice things about us. We're like, I want you to think I'm a great mom. I want the PTA to think I am the best. I want my boss to think I'm a great, valuable employee, right? But you never know what anybody else is thinking about you. Even if they tell you, they could just be lying right to your face, right? We've all had that experience of someone lying right to our face, right? And so you are never going to know what people think about you. Let them think whatever they want. Like, they can think you're lazy, they can think you're a bad mom, they can think whatever, and just be very anchored to like, what do I think about me? Right? So anytime your guys' brain goes into other people's business, I used to do this with my content where I would like type out my captions when we were all doing Instagram captions all the time. And it was like I would read it back and I would like experience my content through what I thought you guys would think when you read it. Like, I have no idea what you're going to think, right? But our brains love to kind of go into like other people's brains and imagine what it's like in their brain and imagine what they're going to think about us. And you want to stay in your business. Anytime it goes to do that, you want to turn it back around and be like, what do I think about this content? What do I think about my schedule? What do I think about me as a mom or me as an employee? Like, really come into your own experience and stay in your own brain, within your own body, and don't go into other people's business, right? And then the other one is like God's business. We're in God's business a lot with universe, whatever you want to believe in, right? It's like it's kind of like higher power, it doesn't matter. Like, we have all religions, all ages, all races, all sexual orientations in the mastermind, right? So I'm never talking about any one specific thing. But you want to stay out of God's business. And even if you don't believe in God, it's like still like thinking about big things you can't control is not helpful, right? So it's like, when is it going to happen? When am I going to make money? How many people are going to sign up? How many people are going to buy? That's all God's business. All of the future shit and like when and how. Like, so you stay out of God's business, you stay out of other people's business, and you stay the fuck in your business, right? What do you think about you? And I think that a lot of times when people have boundary issues, it's because they're kind of thinking about what other people are thinking of them and trying to control that by saying yes, because they're like, I want people to think very good thoughts about me. But it's like, you have no guarantee. Like you can do everything right. There's still going to be people that think you suck and you're lazy and whatever, right? It just is what it is. It's just not a good use of your time, right? And so, and I would really look at this story that you've created around this. The world is knocking at my door asking for time and energy. Like, how does that thought feel? That's not a fact. We can't prove that in a court of law. That's your thought about whatever facts would be in your fact line, your circumstance line, right? And so I would really question that. Like, is that really true? Like, is the world knocking at your door? Like, is it? And if it is, then who do you want to be in that place? Right? And it sounds like you're wanting to be someone that advocates for their dreams and advocates for herself in a powerful way. And it's like, if you were someone that was going to advocate for yourself and your goals and your dreams in a powerful way, how does that version of you think? What do they think when other people ask for their time? I tell people no all the time, and I don't feel bad about it at all. Like, and my thoughts are just like, I have my priorities and I follow them with integrity, right? I have a lot of integrity in my priorities and the way I spend my time, right? My thoughts aren't like, I have to tell people no all the time, or people are always asking for things, or like, I don't have any of those thoughts. Like, my thought is like, I'm a woman of integrity. I honor the things that I say I'm going to do, right? I take going after my goals and my dreams very seriously, and I'm someone who does that with a lot of integrity. And I do that by telling people no and not doing lots of things. I figure things out for step 1, then think about what I need to do for step 2. If I can't figure out how to complete step 2, I don't even try to carry out step 1 because I think none of it will work. So I give up. Yeah, this is great. I love this question, Karina. How can I stop myself from self-sabotaging? By thinking ahead. Yeah, our brains love to try to figure out the future. Like, our brains really love certainty. I'm like going through this right now with this stupid storm, right? I'm like, I just wish I knew where it was going to go. It's because my brain likes certainty. We just want to know. And when we don't know, we start filling in gaps of like what could happen and how it could go down, right? But we're not psychic. So, yeah, I think this is what I see people do a lot that will keep you guys really stuck to. It's like solving for problems that you don't have yet. So it'll be like I'll be coaching someone and they'll be like, you know, I'm gonna get all these clients and then the business is gonna grow and then I'm gonna have to hire a VA and I just don't even know how I'm gonna do that. But they're not in a position to hire a VA right now. Like, that is not a problem they have, right? And so if you're solving problems you don't have, they're like problems off in the future that could someday be your problems. There's no solution or resolution to that. And the reasons our brains like doing that is because then it's off the hook, right? Because if I'm solving a problem that doesn't exist, like, right? It's like this person was not in the position to hire a VA and was very worried about how they were going to hire a VA. And it's like, there's no solution in that because they're not hiring a VA and they're solving a problem that doesn't exist. So there's no actual solution there, right? So our brains like doing that because it lets you off the hook from doing the work you need to be doing, right? It's a lot easier for your brain to just talk you out of doing shit than to sit down and really go to work solving problems in your business, to have to actually risk failing and risk feeling disappointment. It's a lot easier to just sit here and solve make-believe problems that you don't even have. And so this is a good kind of like just check for yourself, is like, is this a problem that I have right now? And is there a solution? And then you just pick one and you test it. Right? And so, Karina, I think for you, and it's kind of that same thing we were saying about like talking back to your brain. It's like you tell your brain, I'm just going to try this one thing and see what happens. And then I'll evaluate the results and I'll try something. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else. Right? But you don't ever know if anything works if you don't test things. And so a good thought I think you could use is like, I'm just going to test this and see if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, I'll do something else. No problem, right? You got to tell your brain, like, this is not a problem. It is not a problem for me to try something and have it not work, right? So this is a really good skill to have as an entrepreneur. It's like being willing to waste your own time, right? Because a lot of us are like, I don't want to try things if it doesn't work. And it's like, well, good fucking luck to you, because I don't know anybody that has built a business without doing a bunch of shit that did not work. Like, that's just the truth. Like, this is the game. It's like fail as fast as possible. Like, it's just like you just run into failure. And that's how you'll figure out what works and what doesn't work, is by testing things and doing things and executing, right? You get better at doing things in your business by doing things in your business, not by thinking about doing things in your business. But executing, like actually executing things, will make you better. And so I would just stay in that energy of like, I'm just going to test things and I'm willing for it not to work, right? If I were coaching you, I'd be curious about what does your brain think is the problem of it not working? And whatever that is, that's probably the coaching you really need. I try to answer these Q&As, but I can do kind of deeper with you guys on Zoom, right? Because I don't know what she thinks the problem is, or what her brain is telling her the problem is with doing something and then having it not work, right? And so I would start thinking thoughts about, are you willing to waste your time? Are you willing to try things and have them not work to figure out what does work faster, right? That's how you figure out what does work faster, right? Trying to save yourself time by not failing makes you slow, and it gets you your result in much longer time. Being willing to just fucking fail and test things and fail and test things and see what works, that will build momentum for you, and it will give you really good information to have to have other ideas of other things you can test. Let me know if you need anything else about that, and come to coaching. I'd love to talk to you. I need a pep talk about building community. I am the person who has done life and most things alone, like my ideal client. I still struggle with this. Yeah, I know this is what she needs and wish I had early on this journey. I need a pep talk about building community. I am the person who has done life and most things alone. I would find a different thought to think about yourself. Like, I don't know that this, like, I'm an introvert, I do everything by myself, is like serving you. Like, I just don't think it's useful, right? And it's the same thing about like what I'm saying when you're driving a car. It's like, yeah, I could die in a head-on collision. That's not useful for me to think about, right? It's not useful for me to tell people how we could all die in a head-on collision, right? It's not useful to go around, if you're wanting to build a community, talking about how you're an introvert and you like to do things alone. And you could probably find, if I were coaching you, I would question this, right? And I would just be like, is that really true? Have you done everything alone? And like, the answer is no, because we live in community, and like, that's how our culture is set up. Like, nobody's an island. And where is it true that you have had community and you are good at building community? Like, find some little evidence for that, even if it's little. Like, just spend some time thinking about that and questioning that. Like, a lot of this stuff is just like spending time being curious about your own thoughts, right? So it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, my brain thinks I'm the person that does everything alone. Like, is that really true? And it's like, well, I had community like with my family growing up, or maybe you had community in college, or maybe you had community with, I don't know, a friend, or maybe you had community at one of your jobs, or like, where in your life have you had community? And find that evidence and spend some time thinking about that, right? Or just don't focus on the whole thing about the introvert doing everything alone. And then the other part of this that you can, this is also a little trick you guys can use, is like, what if this is not a problem? So what if you being an introvert and doing most things alone makes you the perfect person to build this community? How is that true? You guys see how you can kind of ask your brain like more useful questions to get to more useful thoughts, right? Like go get it to find evidence about that you are the perfect person to do this, right? How are you the perfect person? It's trying to tell you you're not the perfect person, and like it's going to be very hard for you, and like what if that is not true? Like what if you have exactly what you need and you are the right person to do it? Does this make sense? Let me know. I can coach you more on this if you need it. I'm going to try and go through the rest of these. Could you do a meditation on being open to money and success instead of graspy and desperate for it? I can do that, Megan, but I'm not going to do it right now. Remind me in the mastermind on Thursday and I can do that. It's just, I'm just not in the energy for it, to be honest with you, just because of the storm, and like there's a lot going on with the storm in my personal life, and like, our entire family and everyone we know lives in Florida. Like people are going to be potentially really badly impacted, and I'm just stressed. That's the reality. So, but when I'm in better energy, yes. Ask me again, Megan. Megan, are you on here? Ask me this again and I will do it for you. No problem. Yeah, thank you. I knew you'd understand. It's just not, I mean, I could do it, but it's just not going to be it's not going to be what we want it to be. You know what I mean? Sometimes, though, here, I'll give you guys this. Sometimes I like to just think about, I'll just sit here. We talked about the millionaire walk the other night, right? I do that. Sometimes I just think about all of the money just going in and out of people's bank accounts, in and out of people's hands. And I'll actually like look up like how much money is circulating like in the economy right now. And it is a fuck ton, you guys. It's like trillions of dollars. Like it's insane, right? And so I just think about how much money there actually is, and it makes like the amount that I'm trying to get to me seem very minuscule in the scheme of like all of the money, right? And so sometimes I like to just be in the energy of like there's lots of money around, it's flowing all around me, it's in and out, and like of course some of it I can direct towards me, and I don't even need that much of it, right? I don't even need $1 trillion. I don't even need $1 billion. So there's a little trick for you if you want to try that. I'm stuck on new headshots brand photos. I haven't had any since 2013. I look mostly the same, so I've got that going for me. But figure out what I want them to look like, who to do them, what I want them to convey is really bogging me down. What will I wear? What looks great? What represents my brand? Yeah, Amanda, I got great coaching for this. Are you ready? So I think one of the best skills you guys can build to make money and be an entrepreneur is to make decisions and make them fast. And so you can decide ahead of time that you're going to like your choice. You just decide, I'm going to manage my mind, and whatever I wear, I'm going to decide to like it. Did you guys know that's how you like things? So we think we're going to feel good about choices if we make the right choice. But really, you feel good about choices when you think good thoughts about your choices, right? And so a lot of times we agonize over making decisions because it's like, I want to feel good about the person I hire and the clothes and like whatever, right? I want it all to like create whatever result. But you can just decide like, I'm going to get new brand photos and I'm just going to love them. No matter how they come out, I'm just going to love them. I'm going to do this and I'm going to love them, and I'm going to focus on all of the things I do like about them, and I'm going to love the process of doing them. And that sometimes will take out this like, I have to make the right decision. I have to pick the reason this is bogging you down is because your brain is like, we have to find the right person to take them. We have to wear the right clothes. And it's like, no, you don't. It's like, no, you don't. You just have to pick something and then have your own back about that decision. A lot of times people that are indecisive because every time they make a choice, they circle back around and they either remake the decision, right? So they'll be like, okay, I'm going to hire this person to make the brand photos. But then they'll circle back around and they'll be like, I don't know though, maybe I should do this person. Maybe I should hire that person. Maybe I should hire this person. They'll like keep making the same decision over and over. You guys make the decision one time. So this is what you do. You make the decision one time. I'm going to hire this person for these reasons. I like these reasons. And then you sell yourself on why you love that choice, right? So instead of me saying, I'm going to hire this person and then indulging in, I don't know, this is really expensive though, and her rates are higher, and she doesn't have experience doing brand photos and blah, 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 blah. You can just decide ahead of time not to think that. So you think, I'm going to hire this person, these are the reasons I want to work with this person. And then you put your brain to work focusing on those reasons, right? It's like for these reasons that I am doing this. And I always tell people, I'm like, you want to spend more time on the back end of the decision, which is thinking about all of the reasons why it's good and why you like it and selling yourself on that choice, and less time on the front end, which is trying to figure out the right way and the right thing. Should I hire this person? Should I hire that person? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? It's just leaking your energy. I can guarantee you. Like, you can decide this today, like what you're going to wear and who you're going to hire, and just be done with all of this, and think how much brain space that will free up for you to think about things that are going to make you money, because this is not going to change your bottom line. I mean, it's great to do brand photos, and it's great. Like, I like our stuff to look good, like, right? But I like getting new brand photos is not going to change my bottom line. Now, you can still do it and have other good reasons for doing it, but I'm just saying, like, when we're doing something in the business that I know is not going to change the bottom line, and it's just something I want to do to like have a really strong brand or up level our branding or something like that, I know that's not going to change the bottom line. And so I am willing to do it, but I do it quickly because I spend all of my time and energy focusing on how to best serve my clients, get them amazing results, make our offer the fucking best that we absolutely can, and delivering at the highest level that we can. And then sales. I spend all of my time thinking about that. Just sales, growing the audience, serving customers. And then the stuff that's like redoing the website or like having really great brand photos, like we do that type of thing, but I don't spend my brain power thinking about decisions that don't change the bottom line in the business. Okay. So, you guys don't care if I have new brand photos or not. I really don't think so. And I've been using the same brand photos too. I have the same fucking 3 pictures on everything, right? And, we're on track to do over $300,000 this year. So just to be, not to like brag about our revenue, but just to be expansive for you guys. Like, you don't have to have everything done perfect, like to make a bunch of money. You just don't. And so anyway, what I was saying about the front end is like the front end of the decision is like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Should I hire this person or that person or this person? You want to spend way less time on the front end. You just look at the choices and you pick one, right? And thinking about a decision for a long time doesn't make the decision better. Often it just makes you confused and slow and inefficient. That's what thinking a long time, most decisions you guys make, like, do not require a long time to deliberate, and deliberation does not make the quality of that decision better. Sometimes you need to like think about things and gather information, but that is a very small minority of decisions in your life. Probably like 98% of your decisions you could make in like 5 seconds. And think about all of that. If you became someone who was super decisive, made the decisions, liked all the decisions they made, didn't remake decisions, didn't indulge in all this doubt and confusion, like, think how much brain space you would have to think about serving your customers, getting people results, getting in front of new people, and doing sales. Like, spend all your time thinking about those things. Those are the things that will make you money, right? And so the front end of the decision is fast. You just pick one. It's like, that's it. And then you spend your time on the back end of the decision, which is selling yourself on why you like that choice. And this is the step in decision making that people fuck up all the time, because they make a decision and then they don't really sell themselves on it, and they don't think about why they like it. And then they take their confused energy that was on the front end and they just drag it on the other side of their decision, right? And I want you guys to feel certain, right? I want you to become someone who can make a choice and feel good about it. And feeling good about a choice is not about making the right choice. Feeling good about a choice is the level at which you are going to manage your thoughts. Because feeling good about your decision is created by what you think about that choice, not by picking the right thing. That's why I'm saying, like, you spend more time on the back end so you can feel good about your choice, managing your thoughts, thinking about why you like that decision, and less time on the front end trying to manipulate everything perfect so you can feel good about your choice, right? Does this make sense? I can teach more on this. We have a whole module on this in the mastermind, but I can break it down more for you guys here if you need. Let me know. Does that make sense? How do you manage thoughts surrounding the hateful things people say about you? How do I manage the thoughts around? I just think like I feel like people are just projecting, and I just kind of think like everything that people say about me is what they actually think about themselves. And I don't know. And I'm kind of like, one of my thoughts is like I'm willing to be disliked. I'm just willing for people not to like me. And this has served me so well. And I'll tell you guys, I think about this all the time because I love running my business and I love doing this kind of stuff and I love coaching. And the reason I think that I love it so much is I can just come on here and like be myself and tell you guys the truth and tell you guys what I really think. And I don't have to come on here and be like some fancy, like I'm not coming on here being like, I'm a fancy business lady. Just like I'm just like doing my thing. I'm sharing with you guys like stuff. I'm obviously really passionate and nerdy about marketing and mindset, right? And it's like I want to come on here and just talk about the things that I love. And I like to talk as me. Like when I talk, like I swear. So I just talk how I talk and I dress how I dress and I be who I be. You know what I mean? And I just think like I'm willing to let people not like me. I'm willing to be disliked so that I can be myself, right? And I think if I had to put on that facade every time I coached in the mastermind of like, I have all the answers and I am fancy business coach lady. and I had to like not swear and like and present myself a very specific way. Like, I think that would, for me personally, would be really exhausting. Right. And I think the reason I can like do all these calls every week with so many people and coach so many people and do so much stuff all the time is like I just am myself. Right. And I'm willing for people to dislike me. Like that's okay. It really is okay with me. Right. It really is. Like I'm like, if you don't like me, like I want you to go get a coach that you like. Like I don't want you to hang out around people you don't like. Right. So it's totally fine with me. And so I would go back to like, what do you want to think about you? And like, how do you want to show up when people are hateful or mean? Like, to me, it's just like, I want to have compassion for them, but I also like don't want to be someone who loses momentum. I still want to be that same person that is committed to my goals and I'm always like, I take my dreams dead goddamn serious. Right? It's like, I take my dreams really fucking seriously. And no matter what anybody says to me or about me, I'm still going to be me pursuing the things I want to do in life. And this sounds morbid, but I always kind of have in the back of my mind that like time is limited here. Like I am on a limited timeline and I think about what do I want to do while I'm here? And to me, like the answer has always been like, I want to be impactful and I want to impact a lot of people. And I want to be someone who's a leader and who's helpful and who serves people. And that is what I care about. I don't care about being liked. I just don't. Like, and a lot of people don't like me. And Nicole's been around. She knows that. A lot of people don't like that I talk about money. People don't like that I swear. People don't like how I dress. I mean, there's like, I've heard it all, right? People don't like my emails. People don't like my social media. They don't like my videos. They don't like the lives. They don't like the coaching. Like, I don't know. It's like we've had people complain about literally everything they complain about in relation to me. And my thoughts are like even when people dislike me, and don't like what I'm doing, I'm still someone who takes her dreams dead fucking serious because I'm on limited time here and I've got things to do. I've got things that matter to me. There are things like I want to do in this lifetime that matter to me. And I'm someone that takes that very, very seriously. Like that's kind of my thought about it. Let me know if that helps, Nicole. I finished my MBA in December and I used to be a chronic belief outsourcer, a CPO. Oh my God. I love that so much. I've never heard that. A chronic belief outsourcer growing up. How do I curb the desire to go back to those habits when working with social media? Yeah, I would love to talk to you about this if you can come to the call tomorrow or Friday. But the call on Friday, I'm telling y'all, is a little bit up in the air. I'm really hopeful this storm is going to miss us, but I don't know that. Um, the call tomorrow, I will definitely be at. So I finished my MBA in December. I used to be a chronic belief outsourcer growing up. How do I curb the desire to go back to those habits when working with social media? Well, what do you want to think about you and social media? Like, what do you want to think? Right? And you just want to get some like easy to grab thoughts, right? So a lot of times when people start doing this kind of thought work stuff, they want to go to a place where it's like, I believe all of my work is changing lives and everything is great and I'm going to be a billionaire and like, but your brain knows when you're bullshitting. You guys thinking thoughts like that you don't believe is not helpful to you. So you want to think a thought that is helpful for you but feels really true and it's like easy to grab, right? And so like what is something that's easy for you to believe about yourself? This is why I use that thought about never quitting, because that's just easy for me to believe, right? I don't really think I'm like the most talented person in the world or the fucking most smartest or anything like that, but I do know one thing, and it is that like I do not give up. It is just like I just am like relentless in the pursuit of the things that I want to do. And so that thought is very easy for me to grab, right? There's a lot, my brain offers me troll thoughts about that $1 million goal all the time. Like, you can't fucking do that. Like, what are you thinking? Like, there's no way you can do that. And I just go, you know what, brain? Like, it's okay. I'm just going to keep going and see how far I can take it. And that's a very easy to grab thought that feels true to me. And so, what would be something like that for you that feels really true, right? About you and what you're doing. One of my other ones that's really easy to grab that you guys can borrow is like, it's like, I I sometimes I will like agree with my brain, right? So maybe your brain is like, this is never gonna work, right? Your business, you're never gonna have like a profitable business. And you're like, even if this never works, I still want to find out what happens if I try, right? So you can go like, you kind of agree with the negative thought and then add that like part at the end. So it's like, even if X, Y, and Z is true, barfy troll thought here, I still want X, Y, and Z, right? And a lot of times it's like, even if this business never works and no one ever buys my things, I still want to see what happens if I try to do it. I still want to see how far I can go. And one of my other ones is like, I just want to see if I can help someone today. So my brain all the time will, this is like its favorite. I feel like we all have like our favorite flavor of suffering, right? Like our favorite like troll thought. My brain loves to give me this thought that's like, everybody hates you, nobody likes you. It just tells me that all the time, right? And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. It's like the negative thoughts aren't a problem. They're always going to be there. You can just let them kind of pass by like clouds in the sky, right? You don't have to like grab them and like be like, oh my God, you're right. Everybody does hate me. Let me think of all of the evidence I have for this and all of the times people didn't like me. It's like, you can just like let it go, right? And like let it be there. But I'll be like, even if nobody likes me, I still want to try to help somebody today. Even if nobody likes me and everybody thinks I'm annoying, I still want to show up and try. I still want to see what happens, right? So this is like a little thought hack for you guys, right? It's like, even if your troll thought, and then I still the usually my flavor for that second part is like, I just want to see what will happen, or I want to see if I can help someone, or I still want to try, right? Even if nobody likes me, I still want to be a person that takes her dreams really serious. I still want to be a person that works hard to do the things I want to do in this lifetime, right? And those things feel true to me. The trick of this is like finding thoughts like that that feel true to you. And that will help, I think, start building your belief, is like finding some of those easier to grab thoughts and then talking back to your brain when it's telling you all of the things. I'm like, we already know it's going to happen, right? It's going to tell you all kinds of negative things, and you can have some like easy to grab kind of thoughts. And it's like, you got to drive the bus. Like, you've got to decide that you're going to manage your thinking. And when your brain gives you a negative thought, like, question it. Like, is that true? What else could be true? Lots of things are true at the same time, right? So it's like, it might be true that the business is never going to work. What else could be true? Right? And just spend time thinking about, well, what are other possibilities? Like, is there other things that could be true? What would those things look like? What are they? And really put your brain to work figuring that shit out. And you'll get better and better at doing it over time. I'll be at the call tomorrow. Perfect. Yeah, the easiest one is social media is for attention seekers. Yeah, so it's like, even if social media is for attention seekers, I still want to try to help someone on social media. Even if social media is for attention seekers, I still want to use it for advertising for my business. My thought about social media is it's free advertising for you guys, right? And then people complain about social media, and I'm like, well, if you don't like it, like, don't do it. Like, you can do something else, but it really is such a great option for you. It's like, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's great. I would love to talk to you about that though. But yeah, it's like, even if social media is for attention seekers, I still want to see if it could be useful in growing my business. Even if social media is for attention seekers, I still want to use it to my advantage, right? Even if social media is for attention seekers, there might be opportunity for me there, and I want to find out, like, stuff like that, right? Where it's like, it's not like you're going to, like, I love social media and it's an amazing opportunity. It's like, you're just kind of headed in the right direction. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if you've thought social media is for attention seekers, you probably have a whole bunch of evidence for that, right? Because that's how our brains work. It's like, we have the thought, and then your brain is like, let me prove you right. This person's an attention seeker, this person's an attention seeker, this person and this person, look at that person, right? And it's just been pointing out all of the people that are attention seekers, right? My thought about human beings is like, we're all attention seekers. Like, what if it's not a problem for humans to seek attention? Like, we need attention to live. Like, think about people in solitary confinement. Like, human beings are like social people. Like, we want to be around other people. We want to have relationships. We want to have connection. We want to be seen. We want to be validated. We want to be heard. And what if none of that is a problem? Like, what if people seeking attention is just people being people and it's not actually a problem? That could be the next step in that for you. And we can talk about that tomorrow. All right. I got through all these questions. I'm very pleased with myself. This was really fun, you guys. These were great questions. Thank you guys so much for everybody that submitted questions and everybody that hung out live. I love it so much. And I'll be on tomorrow at noon. I would say the Thursday, Friday calls are like TBD. I'm going to do them if there's power. That's to be determined. If I have internet, I will be in here coaching, but I don't know what's going to happen with this storm. So we'll just see. We'll just play it by ear. But tomorrow I will be on at noon, and I would love to help you guys. And we'll have another Q&A on Thursday. So if there's something lingering around, sometimes stuff like this will get like your wheels turning and you'll start getting like confused or overwhelmed by this stuff. Don't use anything I say like against yourself. Like, use it in a way that's useful. So if I say something and you take it and you use it to make your business wrong or make what you're doing wrong or make yourself wrong or make yourself feel like shit, like, you're using the coaching wrong, right? So the coaching is like, not everything is for every person. Not everything is going to land with every person. Not everything I say applies to every single person. You guys got to remember, like, I'm coaching, there's hundreds of you. There's one of me, right? And so sometimes I speak in like generalities. Not everything I say is true about you or about everyone. So just remember that. And that's true for like any coach. Like, do not take anything any coach says and take that as like doctrine, right? Don't do that. It's like, you just take from each person. There's so many great people you can learn from. And from each person, you just take the parts that are useful, right? And so from this live stream, like, what was useful for you? Like, what could be helpful for you to take away? And you take that and you leave the rest. You do not take what I say and then leave the call and be like, my mindset's messed up and I don't even know what I'm doing. And like, well, like, don't do that. That is not, I'm like, if you're doing that, you're doing the coaching wrong. Like, the coaching is about you listening and figuring out, how could this be true for me? How could it be useful for me? This is what I do. I'm in a very expensive mastermind that I paid a lot of money to be in, and I take it very seriously, right? And everything she says, I'm like, how could I apply this? How could this be helpful for me? Every person I watch her coach, I'm like taking everything she's saying and filtering it through my brain, being like, what do I think about that, and how could I apply that? And really trying to apply every single thing that's offered to me to what I'm doing and seeing how it is useful versus how it isn't useful, right? It's kind of like I'm always looking at like, how could this be true for me? How could it be right? How could this be useful? Everything she says, right? And so my belief when I get on those calls is like, every single person she coaches, I will benefit from, right? And because I go in there with that attitude, I get a lot out of the calls. And so I'll just offer that to you guys too. And so it's not about like taking what I'm saying as like doctrine. It's like taking it and filtering it with your own brain about, how could that be useful to me and how could that be true to me, and you putting it through your own little filters, right? Not just taking things business coaches are saying and trying to like implement step by step. It's got to be you using your thinking to figure out what works for you. There's no other way to do it, right? I'm always like, your best ideas, your most profitable ideas come from your brain. They have to come from your brain. Stop looking to other people's brains to give you the profitable idea or the business model or the launch steps. Like, it comes from your brain. Your brain. If I could like give you nothing else, it would be that, right? It's like, it all has to come from your brain. And it's hard. It's hard. It like takes effort and like concentration and like work, right? This stuff is not like natural to most of us, I don't think. But I'm always like, you know what? Like, this is one of my thoughts you guys can borrow. And I'm always like, I'm up for the challenge. Like, I'm okay with it being hard. Like, I'm someone who wants to work hard. Like, that's just one of my thoughts I use for my business, right? My brain likes to tell me things are too hard and they take too long. And I'm like, I'm up for the challenge. I'm willing to work really hard to have what I want in life, right? This is important to me. It like means a lot to me. And I'm willing to put my ass on the line, right? To risk my time, to risk my money, like all of it, right? I'm like, I'm here for all of it. Because I want to be someone who pursues her goals in this lifetime while I'm here. All right, you guys, I will see you guys later. Thanks for being here. We put the replay from last night on the podcast for you guys. So if you want to listen on the go, or if you missed it, or if you want to listen to it again, or you want to listen to parts of it again, it's on the podcast. It's only going to be available this week. So this is the deal I make with you guys. It's like, I show up here, right? Every quarter we do a big free event for you guys before the mastermind opens. And I will show up and I will serve you well. Like, I will coach my ass off for you guys, right? I will come and do live. I'm doing coaching for you guys in here for free every day this week, right? And I think it's like, I don't feel like it's a fair exchange to give people lifetime access to my work for free. Like, that doesn't feel good to me. And so the deal I make is like, I want to help and serve generously. And so it's like, it's all available this week for free. So you can listen to it, you can watch it, you can access it for free. Just get what you need this week, because next week we're going to pull it down off the podcast and we're going to pull the videos down and they'll go in the mastermind. So if you're in the mastermind, you guys get access to like everything. But you guys, the mastermind already has so much stuff. I'm telling you, if you join in the mastermind, like, you won't want to go back and watch this stuff. There's so much, like, there's just so much good stuff in there for you to go through. This is like a drop in the bucket compared to what is in the mastermind. So that's the deal I'll make with you guys, right? It's like, I will show up and serve, but I have to feel like fairly compensated, and I have to feel good about the exchange. And that's why I'm telling you guys, that's why I'm not giving you an extension, because I already know what's going to happen. On Friday, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, like this thing happened and this thing happened and this thing happened. And I mean what I say to you guys. So you can bet your ass if I tell you a video is coming down or a cart is closing or this is the lowest price, or like, we take that stuff on my team very seriously, that we're always in integrity with what we say. And so they're only available this week. I'll give you guys till Sunday, but they're coming down. That is the the caveat I'll make with you guys. Thank you guys for being here. This is so fun. It's like my favorite thing ever. And I love talking about this stuff so much. And I love just helping and being here with you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow at noon. I hope you have a great day. I will be going and sandbagging my garage now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.